Ever get that feeling like you're just a character in a story someone else wrote? Well, today we're diving deep into that exact idea with a text called Destiny, a Play by Shuefeng of Life Chan Yuan. It uses this really fascinating theatrical metaphor to completely reframe how we think about fate and our own free will. The author kicks things off with this really bold statement. And, it's a feeling a lot of us have probably had at some point. You try so hard, you plan everything out, but the final outcome just feels, well, predetermined. It's that sense that maybe we're not just living our lives, but we're playing a role in a much, much bigger story. So, to explore that feeling, the author gives us this powerful metaphor. What if all of existence is just one giant play? And inside this play, there are three key roles that define everything. You've got the screenwriter, the director, and the actor. So, let's break down who does what. Okay, first up, you have the screenwriter. This is the ultimate creative force, right? They're the one who dreams up the whole story. Every character, their struggles, their big wins, and how it all ends. Every single little detail is all laid out in their script. Then you've got the director. Now, the director doesn't write the story, but it's their job to bring it to life. They read the script, they guide the actors, they might even tweak a scene here or there, but, and this is super important, they can't change the fundamental story or the destiny that the screenwriter has already written. And finally, there's us, the actor. The actor is the one on the stage actually living out the story. But here's the thing. They have zero control over their lines, their actions, or even when they make their first entrance or their final exit. Their entire role is already decided by the script and shaped by the director. They are, in a way, kind of like a living puppet. Okay, so this is where the metaphor really hits home. The text makes us ask a really simple but profound question. In this huge cosmic play of life, who are the actors? And the answer, according to this text, is everyone. You, me, CEOs, presidents, kings. It doesn't matter how powerful you think you are, we are all just actors playing out a pre-written role on the world stage. All right, so if we're all the actors, then who's holding the megaphone? Who are the directors out there interpreting this grand script for all of us to follow? The author points to all these hugely influential figures who basically provide a script for others. Think about spiritual leaders like Jesus or Muhammad, but also major world leaders, people like Roosevelt or Mao Zedong, who literally shape the destinies of entire nations. The basic idea here is that anyone who offers a big worldview for people to live by is acting as a director for their followers. And this, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. If we're the actors and all these historical figures are the directors, then who wrote the original script in the first place? Who is the ultimate screenwriter of reality itself? The author's answer is very direct: God. In this way of looking at things, God isn't just another character. God is the screenwriter, the one who set up the fundamental laws of reality, the cosmic rules of the game. The text calls this the Tao, or the Way. It's that unchangeable script that even the directors have to obey. To really drive this idea home, the text uses that ancient saying, "Heaven's net is vast. Though its mesh is coarse, nothing slips through." What that means is, no matter how much we might want to improvise or go off script, we are always caught within the framework of the story. The laws of reality apply to everyone, no exceptions. And this all leads to the central point of the text. If you can't rewrite the script, then where is your freedom? Where is your power? The author says it's not about trying to grab the pen yourself. It's about making one single critical choice. Which director are you going to follow? That's where your true agency lies. This table here kind of lays out how the author sees this choice playing out. If you follow worldly leaders, they suggest your life story is going to be all about earthly power and national destiny. If you follow traditional spiritual paths, the goal becomes salvation. And then, the author presents the path of their own community, Life Chan Yuan, which they say is aimed at achieving eternal life in a heavenly realm. The main point here, from the author's viewpoint, is that your choice of director completely changes the ending of your personal story. So, at the end of the day, the author says you have two fundamental choices. There's the temptation to rebel, to try and become the screenwriter yourself. The text calls this the path of a demon, and uses the story of Satan as the classic example of what not to do. The other option is the path of acceptance, to embrace the role you've been given and to play it as perfectly as you can. That, the author says, is how you follow your true destiny and become immortal. So, how do you actually do that? The author lays out 4 steps. Step 1, Just admit you're an actor. Step 2, understand the scripts you were born into, your family, your culture, your country. Step 3, make a conscious choice about which director you want to follow now. And finally, step 4, just perform that role you've chosen as best you possibly can. And that brings everything full circle. According to this text, we can't escape being actors. So the goal isn't to get off the stage. The goal is to consciously pick the most meaningful role you can find, and then play it with everything you've got. The power isn't in escaping your part, but in choosing it wisely. And so, we end with the big question this whole idea leaves us wrestling with. It's a question for you to really think about. If you accept this idea, even for a moment, that you have to play a part, then what is the most meaningful, the most fulfilling, the most ideal role for you to play?